Have you ever wondered just how closely FF7 Remake follows the script of the 1997 original? While Japanese fans get to enjoy this knowledge up front, English-speaking players are in the dark. The remake project has enlisted an entirely new English localization team with higher standards of quality when it comes to the game's dialogue.
You're just a puppet.
As a result, only a single English line from the PS1 classic found its way into Part 1 of the 2020 remake. However, thanks to FF7's new Shinra Archaeology Cut retranslation, we can now spot all the places where the game scripts are the same. So, without further ado, let's take a look at every instance where dialogue from the OG overlaps with remakes. We'll go in plot order and mark all matching text in green. Our first case of overlap happens to be the very first line in the script, when Barrett motions Cloud down from the train.
Get down here, Merc.
There's just one problem though. In the OG, this line is spoken when Cloud is already on the ground.
Get down here, Merc.
Therefore, Remake's new English localization can't be fully used. You're going to be seeing a lot of this, and we'll mark force changes in red. Moving on, we follow the rest of Avalanche and enter Mako Reactor 1, where Barrett says a partially matching line.
Bet you've seen a few reactors.
Eventually, we make our way to the reactor's core, where Cloud has to plant the bomb. A memory of Sephiroth draws his attention away from the task, and Barrett has to snap him back.
What's wrong?
Fast forward to after the boss fight, and Cloud has to help Jessie, who's been pinned by debris. Their exchange is the same across versions.
You okay?
Do I look okay? Help a girl out, would you? My hero!
After Avalanche successfully escapes the blast, they take a breather in a tunnel, where Biggs remarks on their mission.
I mean, this must have helped some.
After all that, it had better have.
The next overlapping dialogue can be found on the red-eye train out of Midgar. We see the members of Avalanche lamenting that Cloud never reunited with them. There, Wedge speaks the following line.
Guess Cloud won't be joining us after all.
No need to assume the worst.
After the party files into a passenger car, Barrett delivers an iconic line about Midgar's plate.
It's because of that great big pizza in the sky that people down there gotta struggle to survive.
In response, Cloud offers his own memorable metaphor.
Like this train, I suppose. There's only one way it can go.
And that's every overlap in the first two chapters of FF7 Remake. Not exactly a lot. Starting with Chapter 3, however, we get a lot more homage to the original. Let's begin with the couple by the lamppost at Sector 7 Station. The 1997 translation of their exchange is famously bizarre. Fortunately, Remake clears it up for us.
How about it, baby girl?
How about what?
Let's go someplace a little less crowded, huh?
Okay, except the only place around here is the train graveyard, which everyone says is haunted. But that's cool, right?
Rain check? Oh, you know you want some of this, babe.
I do, but...
But what?
But...
Huh? I'm flattered you want to watch, but we're not into that kind of thing. Mind doing it somewhere else? I can't wait any longer.
It's okay. I'm ready.
You finally said it. I'm so happy.
Me too.
Right.
Let's...
Another pair of memorable NPCs, the junior and senior guards by the gate to Sector 6, also have some overlapping lines.
You call that a warning?
Sir, I got my hands on tickets for the Loveless musical. Would you like to go with me? I don't know who's scarier, Avalanche or my superior.
Cloud soon proceeds to the Sector 7 slums Central District. We can overhear an NPC there speak the following lines.
If Midgard loses power, aren't computers and traffic lights and all that going to shut down? That can't be good. The economic losses would be staggering. A couple 100 trillion gil or more.
And that's nothing compared to the lives already lost. At least most people were sleeping at the time, so they went peacefully. But that doesn't change the fact that Midgar has been thrown into a panic.
Another NPC play spying on 7th Heaven also says something familiar.
Nothing to report. Maintaining surveillance.
Eventually, Cloud makes for 7th Heaven. Our first overlapping line inside the bar is spoken by Marlene, though in Remake, she greets Barrett outside.
Daddy, you're home!
That's right, Angel, I am.
A bit later, Cloud approaches the counter, where he has the following exchange with Tifa.
Grab a seat.
Not really in the mood right now. I don't know. Something hard and bitter.
Next, we have our first large chunk of overlapping text, which comes in the form of the famous water tower scene. You'll notice that almost all large overlaps like this happen during flashbacks.
Heya. So, what did you want to talk about?
When spring comes, I'm leaving town. I'm going to Midgar.
Should have figured. All the guys are leaving.
But I'm not like them. I'm not going just to look for work. I'm going to be a soldier. The best of the best. Like Sephiroth.
The Great War hero, huh? Isn't it pretty hard to become a soldier?
Yeah. So I won't be back for a long time.
Think you'll be in the papers?
I'll try.
Just promise me one thing. When we're older, and you're a famous soldier, if I'm ever trapped or in trouble, promise you'll come and save me.
Huh?
That's what heroes do. They save people. Please? Just once. Come on, promise me.
Fine. I promise.
Last but not least, we have a bit of reused dialogue with Johnny's father.
We only live once. I say while he's young, he should follow his heart.
And that's it for Chapter 3 of Remake. In fact, we'll have to skip all the way to Chapter 7 for the next instance of reused dialogue. It comes from Tifa when Cloud glimpses a scene of her in Mount Nebel's reactor.
Dad. It was Sephiroth, wasn't it? He did this, didn't he? Sephiroth. Soldiers. Mako. Shinra. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of all of this!
After the battle with the Airbuster, Cloud has a short exchange with Barrett as he dangles from the ruins of the reactor walkway.
We don't have long to get clear.
Take Tifa and get out of here!
I was wrong about you.
This ain't the end of the line for you or me.
The beginning of Chapter 8 gives us our next big cluster of overlapping text, featuring Cloud, himself, and Aerith.
Hey, buddy. You okay? Yeah. Made it through with just a couple of scraped knees back then. Back then? What do you say? We doing this?
Have we?
Never mind about that. Right now, you need to focus on yourself. Move something. Anything.
Why not?
Good. Easy does it. Slow. And steady. Yeah. Hey, who are you?
Hello in there.
An old church in the Sector 5 slums. You came crashing through the roof without so much as a look out below. Fell right into my flower bed. Lucky for you. Like, really.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Don't worry about it. They're a lot tougher than they look. This place, it has a kind of power.
After a short break, the matches continue.
I've got one too.
You and everybody and their mother.
Not like mine, no. It's special. Mine's not good for anything at all.
Bet you just don't know how to use it.
Could be. Though, I really don't mind. Just having it is enough. It was a gift from my mother.
We then skip forward a little to Aerith's famous one date line.
But it'll cost you. A lot.
A lot, huh? One date ought to do it.
Amazingly, there's even overlap with the Easter egg line Reno speaks off-screen.
Hang back. We're not in any hurry.
By the way, you may have noticed Aerith says the following line during the battle with Reno in Remake.
You're gonna catch holy hell.
Ironically, the Japanese doesn't overlap here. This was purely a nod by the English localization team. As Cloud and Aerith make their way across the rooftops of Sector 5, we find yet more matches.
Wait! Give me a moment. Don't just run off on your own.
Those the words of a soldier candidate?
So petty.
It's 'cause of the Mako. All soldiers have them.
The Sector 5 Slums Central District also features overlapping lines from various shopkeepers. First, the item store clerk.
You give me gil, I give you items.
Then, the materia store owner.
There's nothing you can't get your hands on in this town. Materia, scrap, you name it. I've got the finest collection of materia you'll find anywhere.
And finally, the weapon shop vendor.
Looking for a new weapon? I'd love to say something, but I don't work here.
If you don't look out for yourself, no one else will. That's a lesson for life on the ground floor.
We can also find an NPC at home talking about how neither Shinra nor Avalanche can be trusted.
Everything that comes out of the president's mouth is complete bullshit. But those eco-terrorists, Avalanche, or Avarice, or whoever, it's not like they've earned my trust either. They talk about wanting justice and all that, but it seems to me like they're just jealous of the people in power.
If we check the TV, we'll see a weather report that's shared between the OG and Remake.
And now, the weather report. We're looking at another cloudy day in Midgar, with overcast skies through tomorrow. There's also a chance of rain in some areas.
Eventually, Aerith leads Cloud to her home, where Elmira is waiting.
I'm home.
There are a few instances of overlapping dialogue here, including Cloud's possible reply to Aerith's probing about Tifa.
It's not like that.
Aerith soon announces to Elmira that she's going to take Cloud to Sector 7.
Hey, Mom. I'm gonna go take Cloud over to Sector 7, okay?
But Elmira convinces them to wait till morning.
But why not wait until tomorrow?
Before Cloud goes upstairs, he can speak with Elmira briefly.
Judging by those eyes, I'm guessing you're a soldier. But would you leave tonight without any fuss, no questions?
On the second floor, we get the next big chunk of matching text. Not surprisingly, it's during one of Cloud's flashbacks.
I've never been so proud. The man you've become? Women must be hounding you day and night.
Not really.
There's all kinds of temptations in the big city. I'd feel a lot better if I knew you'd found a good girl, one who'd make sure you didn't get into trouble.
I can take care of myself.
An older, more mature girl that could keep you on the straight and narrow and tell you when you're being a silly goose. That's the perfect type for you, I'd say.
Now let's fast forward to Evergreen Park during Chapter 9. One of Cloud's responses at the entrance also matches with Remake, though the tense has to change.
I'll go with you.
Cloud and Aerith then climb up on top of the cat slide, where we have one overlapping line, and a controversial one at that.
The first guy I ever loved.
Next up is the wall market portion of the game. Our first match comes from Johnny, who's standing outside of the Honeybee Inn, agonizing about whether he should enter.
Oh, to enter or not to enter, that is the question. Wherefore does this philosophical quandary torment me? You totally get where I'm coming from, right?
In the OG, the clothing shop owner will ask you to describe the dress you want made. Remake pays homage to two of these options after Johnny and the shopkeep return to the store. However, the English localization translates them to something unusable.
Huh? You want to help us pick a dress? Alrighty. What do you think of this real skimpy one here?
This silky one over here is kind of nice too.
If you enter the diner, you can order one of 3 dishes. Each of these is referred to by name in Remake.
What's the mystery fish set? What's today's special? I'll have the barbecue.
Additionally, an NPC at the counter speaks a familiar line praising Don Corneo.
Got nothing but love for the Don. He's the man putting food on my plate.
This next overlapping line is far and away the deepest cut of all, though it's not technically dialogue. In fact, the text in question was never translated into English for the OG. It belongs to a poster on the wall of the men's club in Wall Market. A better look can be found on Disc 4 of FF7 International. As it turns out, a group of NPCs in the gym in Remake recite these lines while working out. They're the words to the so-called Men's Creed.
My body's a temple, my muscles religion!
The sweat off my brow is proof of my conviction!
Greet every day with a bunny hop!
Squat through the pain and tears that never stop!
And that is what it means to be a man!
Eventually, Cloud and Aerith gain access to Don Corneo's mansion. Tifa has an overlapping line when talking to Aerith in the basement.
I guess not.
You? Me? Cloud?
Next, we get some matching lines when Corneo is picking out his bride for the night.
Okay, my beautiful ladies.
Nice. Very nice. Whichever one shall I pick? Oh. Shall I pick? Or maybe you? Yeah. I've got it! I've got it! Playing hard to get? I can dig it. Oh, yeah. The leftovers are all yours.
If Cloud doesn't get picked, he's led to a room full of Corneo's lackeys, where Scotch says the following line.
Hey, yo, fellas! We got guests! And y'all got first crack at entertaining them.
If Cloud is picked, Corneo will have a tough time containing himself in his bedroom.
Don't be shy, little kitten. Shimmy on over and give Daddy some sugar. No need to play coy. Nobody here but you and me.
Once Tifa and Aerith barge in, the party grills Corneo about his interest in Avalanche.
Why did you have men in Sector 7 asking about Avalanche? Spill the beans.
I'll cut him off.
All right. I'll talk. Some guy with a gun for an arm. I was paid to find him.
Paid by who?
I can't tell you that. They'd hunt me down like a dog.
Well, you better. 'Cause if you don't,
I'll rip him off.
It was the Director of Public Security, Heidegger. It was Heidegger.
Shinra! And what were they planning?
Better keep talking.
Or I'll smash them.
Stamp them out, home base and all. And I mean stamp out. By targeting the support pillar and blowing it up.
The pillar?
Did I stutter? The plate will come crashing down.
Toward the end of the scene, Corneo poses the crew a memorable multiple-choice question.
Before you do,
No.
please, this won't take long. As everyone knows, villains only divulge their plans in a certain situation. But what is that situation?
When they're faced with certain death, jackass.
Not what we were looking for.
I don't know. When they've lost their minds?
Close, but no cigar.
When they think they've already won, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a winner!
Chapter 10 of FF7 Remake has a fraction of an overlapping line, found when Heidegger was reporting to President Shinra.
The Turks are on top of it. Yes, there will be no delays.
We then move into Chapter 12 and the assault on the Sector 7 support pillar. Our first matches belong to Cloud and concern an injured Wedge.
You okay?
Cloud!
Stay with Wedge. I'm going up.
Sure.
At the top of the pillar, Barrett warns the party about an incoming helicopter, but the English localization isn't applicable with how the scene unfolds in the OG.
Get your ass behind cover, now! Chopper's gonna chew you up!
A little later, Tifa says the following line to Tsung.
You can't do this!
After the Sector 7 plate falls, Barrett screams at his old home's smoldering remains.
Marlene! 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 Biggs! Wedge! Jesse!
Tifa and Barrett then talk amid the ruins of Evergreen Park.
No.
You can't think like that. Whatever came before it was Shinra that pulled the trigger today.
Minutes later, Cloud enters the collapsed expressway and has a brief flashback to something Sephiroth said.
Within my veins flows the blood of ancients. This planet is my birthright.
The party decides to visit Elmira and see if they can learn more about Aerith. The flashback shown there is where we find our next sizable section of overlapping lines.
I went to the station to meet him. But he didn't come. I couldn't help fearing the worst, even then. But I told myself his leave must have been postponed, that he'd been delayed. Every day I went, to wait and to pray. Take Aerith somewhere safe. Those were her mother's dying words. So I convinced myself the safest place for the girl was with me. It took no time at all for her to start feeling like family. She was a real chatterbox. She told me strange stories, like how she and her mother had escaped from some sort of facility, and how she wasn't sad because her mother had just returned to their planet. I didn't understand any of it at the time. When I asked if she meant one in the sky, she said no, this one, right here. I mean, what can you say to that?
Mommy. Don't be sad.
That's what she said to me one day, out of the blue. So I asked her, what's wrong?
A man you really, really loved just died. His heart came a long way to say goodbye, but he couldn't stay because he had to return to the planet.
I didn't believe her, of course. And then, a few days later, I received a letter saying my husband had been killed in action. Things like that, she'd just know. It was a lot to deal with, but we were happy. And then came the knock.
No! Go away!
Aerith, you know you're not just any little girl. You're a descendant of the ancients.
I had no idea what he meant, so I said, "Who are the ancients?"
They were the original stewards of the planet, whose boundless knowledge and wisdom shall guide us to the promised land. Some believe the promised land to be a myth, others an allegory of sorts. But we take the words of the scriptures at face value and believe it to be quite real. Which is why Shinra would like very much for Aerith to help us—
You're wrong! I'm not an ancient!
But Aerith, even when you're all alone, don't you hear voices whispering secrets?
No, never!
Afterward, when Barrett goes upstairs to check on Marlene, he'll say the following matching line.
Marlene, my baby, thank God.
If you return to the basement of Corneo's mansion before heading to the Shinra building, you'll find Koch tied to the torture table.
Would you mind helping me out? I'm kind of in a bind, as you can see. Thanks, you guys. Man, these jerks from Shinra showed up out of nowhere. Accused me of leaking information and called me useless. And well, the rest is history. Well, anyway, thanks for helping me out. Peace out!
For the next instance of matching dialogue, we'll have to skip on over to Chapter 16. While climbing the stairs to floor 59 of the Shinra building, Tifa and Barrett share some humorous remarks.
But tell me, these stairs, are these stairs ever gonna end?
I don't know. Ask the stairs.
This sucks! I want to go back!
You want to go down all those stairs you just climbed?
Sometime later, the party encounters Mayor Domino on floor 62.
I am the mayor of the great metropolis of Mako. Domino, at your service.
His famous catchphrase is another point of overlap.
Midgar's mayor is nothing less. Everyone says he's cooler than the rest.
Hardcore fans will notice that the robots in Remake's Shinra building archives say possible answers to Domino's quiz in the Japanese version of the game. However, because of how the puzzle works for English audiences, none of them completely overlap.
Mayor, very fast. Shinra, very fast. Mayor, explosive. Mako, explosive.
The story proceeds and we get to eavesdrop on a meeting in floor 66's boardroom, which features a couple reused lines.
I have the damage assessment for Sector 7.
That will not be needed.
Remember how he said just a single line from the 1997 translation made its way into Remake? We can see it here at the end of the board meeting, except instead of Scarlet, Hojo is the one to deliver it.
Something stinks.
On floor 68, the party confronts Hojo.
We're taking Aerith back!
Minutes later, we finally come face to face with Red 13, who makes a philosophical self-introduction.
I am that which you see before you, nothing more.
Let's fast forward to the holding cells on floor 68. Aerith recites some of the Cetra lore her mother passed on to her. In Remake, these lines are instead spoken by Barrett.
Born of the planet, with her speak, her flesh shape. Unto her promised land shall we one day return. By her loving grace and providence, may we take our place in paradise.
The party make their way to the rooftop, where Rufus arrives following his father's assassination. Barrett quickly explains who he is.
Heir to the throne himself.
Out on the helipad, Barrett, Aerith, and Red 13 introduce themselves as they do in Remake. Unfortunately, the new English localization of Red's line isn't applicable with the OG.
Avalanche!
Local florist.
Lab rat dog.
Finally, we arrive at our last overlapping line. This one isn't part of FF7 Remake's initial release. It can only be heard in the bonus ending after FF7 Remake Intergrade.
Guess this is goodbye, City of Mako.
And there you have it. Every instance of overlapping lines between the original FF7 and Part 1 of the Remake trilogy. If you'd like to experience the Shinra Archaeology Cut retranslation for yourself and get a better feel for all the connections between the OG and Remake, boot up the 7th Heaven mod manager and give it a whirl today. In addition to an exhaustive retranslation, you can also enjoy loads of official scrapped content, some of which you'll recognize from other videos on our channel. Finally, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to let us know. With enough interest, we'd be happy to cover all the overlapping lines in FF7 Rebirth next.